The Department of Homeland Security also announced this afternoon that it is launching a new immigration crackdown operation in Chicago. In a post this afternoon, the department said Operation Midway Blitz will, quote, target the criminal illegal aliens who flocked to Chicago and Illinois because they knew Governor Pritzker and his sanctuary policies would protect them. The move does come as President Trump continues to push for National Guard troops to be sent to Chicago to crack down on crime. Speaking today at the second meeting of the White House Religious Liberty Commission, President Trump expressed frustration with the leadership of the Windy City.
You try and reason with people like in Chicago with the governor and the mayor. You try and reason with them, and it's like you're talking to a wall. It's just doesn't. I assume it's just a political ideology. They're not stupid people. Must be an ideology that's just buried in their head, and you can't do a damn thing about it. And we'd love to go into Chicago and straighten it out.
The president's remarks come after he posted a meme photo over the weekend saying Chicago is, quote, about to find out why it's called the Department of War. The comment sparked protests across the Windy City that you're seeing there. And yesterday, President Trump clarified that he is not declaring war on Chicago and only plans to clean up U.S. cities. He has also threatened to send troops to the Democratic cities of Baltimore and New Orleans. For more on this, let's bring in CBS News White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi. Olivia, great to see you today. What do you make of the president's comments on Chicago, especially following the uproar over the weekend?
Well, Nancy, it's quite notable because he did post that meme that certainly had a lot of reaction over the weekend, likening himself to a character in Apocalypse Now, the famed movie, and saying that Chicago is going to find out why it's called the Department of War. Now, over the weekend, the president was asked why he would use the Department of Defense in an American city like Chicago. And he said, we're not going to war. We're going to clean up the cities. We're going to clean them up. That's not war. That's common sense. But of course, this also comes as we're seeing that operation underway in Chicago, Operation Midway Blitz, that they say is supposed to target criminal people who are there in Chicago. But this certainly comes amid some pretty extraordinary rising rhetoric, Nancy.
Oh, absolutely. And Olivia, we also have new CBS polling that shows the majority of Americans are opposed to Trump sending the National Guard to Washington, D.C. and other cities. So given that, why is it that the White House views this as a winning strategy?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, over the weekend, our polling director, Anthony Salvanto, released this really informative poll about the National Guard being deployed and found that 57% of people asked found that the deployment of the National Guard in D.C. they are opposed to. 58% are also opposed to them going to other cities. But when you kind of break it down, it becomes a little bit more informative because Anthony actually asked Republicans, Democrats, and independents how they felt. And a whopping 85% of Republicans agreed with President Trump putting the National Guard troops on the ground in D.C., even if they don't live here. And they said that it feels like they like it because they feel it reduces crime. And so because of that, they're behind it. But what I do want to point out there is that 55% of independents who don't agree with the deployment of National Guard troops. So, but 45% do. So it's an interesting game that they're playing here, dice that they're rolling, if you will, about whether or not Americans and independents will agree with what they're doing. They're ultimately making the choice that this eventually will result in reduction in crime, and therefore they will have greater support among those independents. But for right now, still a majority of them say they're not behind this decision. Nancy?
Yeah, pretty widespread there. Olivia Rinaldi, thanks so much.